This is the Water Quality Association podcast, promoting the betterment of water quality around the world.
What we have, instead of a monetary investment like you would see on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, where our panelists are actually mentors.
Our programs, and especially events like this where companies get to showcase what they're doing and talk about their solutions, I think is really important to the industry.
And this episode is all about the Hydropitch Challenge at the WQA Convention and Expo in Long Beach, California, April 22nd through the 24th, 2025. And welcome to the podcast from the Water Quality Association, the leading voice of the residential, commercial, and industrial water treatment community. If you're a first-time listener or viewer, we're glad you're here. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a show. Also, be sure to share the podcast with someone on your team. And we also feature our podcasts on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/@WaterQualityAssociationVideos. In this podcast, we'll talk about the Hydropitch Challenge with WQA's Vice President for Innovation and Technology, Jonathan Adams, and Karen Frost, who is the Vice President for Economic Development and Innovation at the Water Council. We'll discuss the purpose of the challenge, how the participants were selected, what will take place during the live event on stage at the WQA Convention, and what attendees can take away from this educational and inspiring event. Plus, we'll have our WQA Tip. It's all coming up on the Water Quality Association podcast. Well, as you may know, the theme for the 2025 WQA Convention is innovation. And one of the new features is called the Hydropitch Challenge. It's a high-energy, high-engaging, fun session that's going to give attendees a sneak peek into the future of water treatment. And with us to talk about the Hydropitch Challenge are WQA's Vice President for Innovation and Technology, Jonathan Adams, and Karen Frost, who is the Vice President for Economic Development and Innovation at the Water Council. So welcome to both of you, and thanks for joining us on the podcast. Jonathan, I'll start with you. As WQA's VP for Innovation, what are your primary goals in fostering innovation within the association as well as the broader water quality industry?
Sure. So both within the association and in the broader industry, my goals are the same. So it's about identifying opportunities for innovation, removing some of the roadblocks that hamper it, and really just creating an environment where new ideas can thrive and grow.
And Karen, the Water Council, based in Milwaukee, not too far away from WQA's headquarters. You're focused on solving global water challenges by driving freshwater innovation. If you could provide for us a little bit of the background and what you're trying to do through the innovation programs and water technology and how they support water technology, I should say, within the industry.
Sure. So the Water Council and my work specifically is focused on economic development and innovation. So you can think of my role as kind of that match.com between, the industry, so linking companies together for mutual value, but then that also includes supporting early innovators and various stages of development. But for this Hydropitch competition, we actually run a post-accelerator program for late-stage scale-up technologies from around the world. And some of those are directly aligned with the interests of WQA. So Water Council's role is to actually help those companies in their journey to market. And what that typically means is offering some programmatic support and a lot of matchmaking and showcasing those companies. So this pitch competition gives us a great opportunity to do such that.
All right, we've talked about the term Hydropitch and the pitch and so forth, the challenge. Jonathan, how did this all get started? And just kind of give us the definition of what is going to take place.
Sure. So this all started about 12 months ago when we wrapped up our 2024 convention. Our theme for this year, as you know, is innovate. And so we really wanted to be mindful of not just having it be a concept or something that we kind of slapped on there as a theme, but really embracing innovation and showing innovation throughout the show. So Hydropitch was one of those concepts. It's sort of in the style of Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, if you think about it, except instead of money or investments, our challengers are really looking for mentorship and connections and exposure within our industry. So when I started the process of looking into setting up this sort of competition or challenge, it was really a lot of work. Is what I was finding out is people who had done it before, the average was roughly 16 months to 2 years in terms of concept to actual execution. And being that we wanted it in 12 months, I knew I had to get creative and practice some innovation myself. So as I looked at the challenges, right, it's figuring out how to craft the program, open it up to applicants, selecting, getting them prepped and ready to present their innovative ideas on the big stage. I really looked at, okay, who's doing this now and who's doing it well? And that's where the Water Council came to mind. I had the pleasure of attending the Brew 2.0 competition last year in June. And that it was the sort of light bulb moment was, what if we took previous Brew and Tech Challenge winners who had already experienced this sort of challenge and they've already been through that process. So we're doing less work on getting them up to speed and really just pulling in Karen, who has obvious expertise in this area because she's been doing it. And it really was a great opportunity to collaborate and really practice some of the innovation that we're hoping to showcase at the Hydropitch Challenge.
So Karen, tell us about how the Water Council was able to provide that support.
As Jonathan said, he actually attended our event last year, so I think he got to see what the scope and the maturity of the cohort members that we support is. And the way we supported was basically we shared our previous pipeline of all of our Brew 2.0 companies with the Water Quality Association and allowed them to kind of go through and filter companies that would be directly aligned with their audience's interests, because water technology is such a broad space. You can have wastewater treatment, drinking water treatment, stormwater, wastewater, industrial water, and then that doesn't even cover other topics like sensors and software and systems. So with water technology as a category being so broad, we work with companies from all of those fields. Really the only area of technology we don't directly intersect with are desalination technologies and ag tech. So we provided basically our Brew 2.0 alumni and Tech Challenge list to the Water Quality Association and said, have a look at these and see which ones you think are aligned with your audience's interests. And then I guess that kind of provided almost an easy button to WQA to say, these companies are ones that would be aligned with our company's interests. So therefore, we'll send out an invitation and invite them to apply. And then through their competitive process, see, kind of who rose to the top in terms of the types of companies they felt like would really be compelling for their audience. So, I think it was a great partnership and a really great opportunity to exercise the power of our alumni network.
Jonathan, then you found those names and you went through this vetting process and application process. So take us through that and how we got to where we are now for the convention.
Yes. So as part of the application process, we asked them a series of questions and really just to get a better understanding of their products and offerings, what issue they hope to address, and kind of where they saw themselves fitting into the larger water treatment industry. And from there, I really worked with Eric, Yagi, and Brianna Patazik from our technical affairs team to help with the selection. And we were able to even pull in our water sciences think tank group, which is composed of WQA members with technical backgrounds. And they were able to give some really good feedback on the selection process and some of the questions they had, which will ultimately help us really pass those on to the challengers and have them be better prepared as they go into the convention.
So can we identify who these applicants and finalists are?
Sure. So we have 3 challengers for the Hydropitch competition. There is Genesis Systems, Cadea, and Stockholm Water Technology AB.
Can you talk more about them? And maybe, Karen, since you had some background with these companies going back to your previous association, maybe you could provide a little bit of background of what each provides.
So, I think they're all really unique and interesting in their own ways. Cadea actually has a self-contained, dispensing system or vending system, is probably the better term.
I think they position it as a closed loop beverage system.
Okay, closed loop beverage system. So they actually utilize the syrups and, such from like the makers like Coke or Pepsi or Gatorade or whoever to mix beverages or to provide just purified water in a closed loop system using aluminum bottles that are cleaned, purified, and sanitized in the unit itself. So customers can choose their beverage, they can pay for it using the kiosk, they can consume their beverage and then return their aluminum bottle to the system, which puts it back in the loop and completes, a cleaning and purification process. And then, so it's eliminating single-use plastic as well as providing hydration as a service.
I was wondering where you were going with the closed loop part. Now I get it. That's great.
Yeah. So I think they're looking for audiences that are, I'm going to say, kind of captive or recurring audiences. So think manufacturing, plants or universities or hospital systems where you would have, the same type of audience maybe as a guest. So it would be easier for them to recycle and have those recycled bottles stay on premises instead of someone taking that bottle. But I think they've had like a 99-cent return rate, in terms of, not losing any of their bottles at this point. Genesis System has a really unique offering, both at a consumer scale and also for an industrial scale to provide atmospheric water generation. Basically, that is water from air. I think they have improved the process to be able to optimize over humidity, because usually the humidity is captured from the air and that is what is created in that atmospheric water generation. But they have both, consumer-based water cubes on up to commercial focused or commercially sized units. And I think they're also using their system for emergency deployment. So think, hurricanes or floods or, major catastrophes. They could actually deploy this in a containerized system and provide potable water in emergency situations. Stockholm Water, I know, has a home purification system, but they were with the cohort 3 years ago, and I'm not remembering every other aspect of their technology. So I might toss that back over to Jonathan, because you probably looked at their technology more recently than I have.
So the Stockholm Water technology is a low energy, Internet of Things enabled water purification system.
Okay, interesting. Now, so I'm envisioning all 3 of them making their pitch, if you will, in that Shark Tank-like format that I think, Jonathan, you referred to. So what exactly are they looking to do? You think of Shark Tank, you think of generating money, right? Investment. Is that what's happening here? Are we looking for investors?
So we're looking for investment in the people, not necessarily investment in the companies. So what we have, instead of a monetary investment like you would see on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, where our panelists are actually mentors, right? So we have a really great lineup of mentors for this session, and it will be comprised of Paulie Undesser, who is the WQA CEO, as well as Adrian Chu from Pentair, Judd Learned from Culligan International, and Mike Baird from Aquamore. So all really well-known, well-respected people at kind of the highest levels of our industry. And so that is what the challengers are competing for, is to get that mentoring relationship to really enable them to take their businesses to the next level.
And just to go back from a logistical standpoint before we go any further, when will this session be during convention, which again is April 22nd through the 24th? In just a little over a month, it seems like now, in Long Beach, California. When will this take place?
Yes, so it will be one of the general sessions, and it is taking place Wednesday, April 23rd.
Okay, so if your interest, your curiosity is getting piqued by what you're hearing, you'll want to be at that general session on Wednesday of convention week, April 22nd through the 24th. All right. When it comes to innovation, you also think potentially there's some compliance issues, some regulatory issues. Wondering what role WQA and the Water Council will play in supporting those issues. Karen, do you want to take that one?
Sure. We are not the regulatory experts. We would typically refer our companies to external stakeholders. WQA could be a great partner or referral for that. We also have worked with independent regulatory experts who, that's what they do in terms of analyzing codes or requirements or whatnot. Water Council, as a matchmaker, is always trying to make those value-add referrals to the subject matter experts in those particular areas. So I'm not a regulatory expert. I will never be a regulatory expert. Those have their very own complexities. So we refer those issues to experts.
Jonathan, anything more?
Yeah, I think certainly as it relates to those, all of the common theme with all of the challengers is that there's some aspect of filtration in there. So with that said, it's all about making sure that our challengers are aware of kind of the ins and out of the industry and understanding kind of the WQA code of ethics, right? Making sure that as we describe what our products do or the problems they solve, that we're talking about that in an ethical way and that we're not using scare tactics or anything like that, but also really just using that validation of certification and testing to make sure that the products do what they say that they're going to do, and just making sure that we're looking at it through that lens.
Now, besides the panel that's looking at these products and giving sort of this initial overview and judgment and analysis, I imagine there would be opportunity as well for others within the association and the attendees at the convention to connect with these participants as well, right? And learn about what they're doing, and then perhaps offer, again, sort of the mentorship or potentially partnering in some way. Would that possibly be the case, Jonathan?
Yes, absolutely. And before I get too far into that, I want to call out another benefit of working together with the Water Council. So in addition to just having this mentoring opportunity, though the Water Council was able to, again, make connections, like Karen said, they're really, really good about that. So through our collaboration with the Water Council, all of our Hydropitch challengers will have access to some advisory services from Thales Water Advisors.
Fantastic. And moving forward, now this will be the first year we've done this, but are there plans as well to do this in the future? Does it depend on how it goes, or are we already kind of thinking ahead for future years?
Yeah, so now that we've had some of the groundwork established, and I really see now why it was taking that kind of 16 to 24 months to get a program started. Now that we have some of that figured out now, it becomes a little bit easier to do it again. So it will largely depend on how much interest there is in doing it again, but we're certainly open to that and looking forward to this year's session.
And Karen, what would you say to entrepreneurs and startups and those considering entering challenges like Hydropitch or Brew in future years? What kinds of qualities or uh, innovations are you looking for?
I think for our programs, we're looking for companies that are the right stage, the right team, and have solutions that are addressing pressing problems in the industry. I don't think you have to go very far to identify pressing problems, around water with emerging contaminants and, different pressures for water quality and quantity. So, we're just looking for teams that are in that scale up mode. So stage is very important. I think having a compelling offering that is solving a real problem is also very important. But, our programs, and especially events like this where companies get to showcase what they're doing and talk about their solutions, I think is really important to the industry. I don't think that we can, I don't think there's ever too many opportunities to share about, what these innovators are bringing to the market. With all of the problems in the world related to water, it's going to take a lot of solvers. No one solution is going to have a corner on the market. And we work with companies globally. So I think, what we're seeing is there's, kind of pockets of expertise in various areas from around the world. And I think that's why we are so delighted to support, to have a global program that supports, many innovators from all over. For the first time, we're having, countries represented in our upcoming cohort that we've never had, submit in the past. So I guess with all of the challenges around water, there's a lot of opportunity around water. So I think there's a lot to be hopeful about. And these types of pitch events or competitions just give me a lot of confidence that there's really smart people out there, very creative people out there thinking about these problems and finding ways to address them. So, like I said, there's the challenges and the opportunities are just two sides of the same coin. And I'm really excited to see Hydropitch.
Jonathan, anything to add to that?
No, I think Karen captured it really well. The only thing I would add is, we're looking for people with excitement and passion around improving water quality. And I think all of this year's Hydropitch challengers really bring that to the table.
And Jonathan, let me stay with you here. For those attending the convention, let's again kind of go back to that full circle. Why should they make it a priority to attend this special event? Why should they plan to attend the Hydropitch Challenge?
Great question, Wes. So it's all about exposure and awareness of these groundbreaking technologies. And for me, if I'm someone who's looking at planning my schedule and determining what sessions to attend or which booths to attend on the expo floor, I would really be interested in checking out all of these technologies because, one of them very well may be like the next big thing. And to be able to say, like, I saw them or I saw this before it blew up, I think would be really advantageous for all of our attendees.
Innovation gets one thinking, doesn't it? It's great.
Absolutely.
Hey, I want to thank you both for joining us for the podcast to talk about the Hydropitch session at convention. And again, it's the WQA Convention, April 22nd through the 24th, with Wednesday, the 23rd, being the day for the Hydropitch session. So you don't want to miss that, and learn more about convention and register at wqa.org/convention. So Karen Frost, thank you very much. Jonathan Adams, I appreciate you joining us as well.
Thanks, Wes.
Thank you so much.
Our WQA tip: you can learn, grow, and succeed with the help of WQA's online member resource center. You can find links to WQA publications, fact sheets, reports, and the exclusive WQA knowledge base. You'll find more right on the homepage of our website, WQA.org. Thanks for joining us for the Water Quality Association podcast, bringing you the latest news and insights from the association, our members, and outside experts to help you better serve your customers and grow your business. Learn more about water and water filtration at our consumer website, betterwatertoday.org, and learn more about professional certification, product certification, and how you can become a WQA member at our website, WQA.org. Until next time, this is Wes Bleed. So long from the Water Quality Association.